What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Release Valve. We got Sean Hanlon, Kyle Spain, and our boy Eric Franks back in the building. How's everybody doing tonight?
Fantastic. Got here. You know, it's not always easy, getting to certain places. Life always gets in the way, but we are here. Excited to be here with our man, Eric Franks. What is going on, brother man? How are you doing?
What's up, man? No, I'm good, man. Just living life.
Life be lifing.
There
Life
you
be
go.
lifing, as we say, man.
Life be life.
But you must
Yes,
be
sir.
doing good after getting that most recent W in the last fight. What was it, two
Yeah.
weekends ago?
Yes. Good job. And
Can
then the one before that was like a
That's right.
month and
You've
a half
had
ago, I
two
think.
fights in the past couple months, man. So, I mean, we talked about after that first fight, and then you were lining up or looking for the second fight, and we said we would get back on, and then all of a sudden, boom, had that one and another one lined back up. How you feeling? How much time was it? You said it was like a month and a half in between the two of them. I
About,
mean,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
that's
it
a
was pretty
short
quick.
turnaround, man. You're having to cut weight too. What kind of how
Yeah.
much weight do you cut actually? How much? We'll start with that.
Well, it's changed. So, like back in the day, it was
Hmm.
135, but now the first one that I came back was 145. Then it's not the last one, but the one before that was 147, and this one was 150.
Okay.
So I'm getting
All right.
fatter every
That's
time.
cool. That's cool that you didn't have to continue cutting down all that weight. That's crazy.
Well, the reason the last one was 150 because it was like 3 weeks
Okay.
notice, it was about 3 weeks because they were asking like, "Hey, anybody want to fight?" And I was like, "Sure, man."
I
And
know a
then
guy.
and then yeah, I was like I was like 165, and I was like, dude, but I had not been eating well at all, and I was like, yeah. And then I made the mistake of eating pizza that same week, and then so I was struggling to get to 150, man. I was like, oh, but I made it, so it was all good.
Hey, well,
That's part of the battle,
congratulations.
right? Is just
I
Yeah,
just
wanna
getting to the scale.
right,
yeah, because
right,
now
for
I'm a fat
sure.
boy, so
Well, right. I mean, it's not like you were
Well,
in fight camp, getting ready and knew that this was coming. So all of a sudden, that's the thing with these short notice fights, is right. You got to immediately jump into that mindset and that lifestyle that goes along with it. It's not just the training and working out. It's the cutting back on the treats and sweets and watching the weight and the diet and then having to what is it, consume more water so that way you can cut down all of that water weight too.
yeah. The last week is always the
Right.
worst.
well,
'Cause,
well.
like,
How about? I had two questions. Can you explain to us what that's like, what that process is like for those that are listening, so we can get a little bit more behind the scenes, a little insider of what it's like to be a fighter? The mental approach, the ins and outs, the emotions that come with having to lose the weight. Obviously, there's the anxiety of like, oh, well, what if I don't make the weight, right? And so, talk to about that. I think we kind of talked about it before, but let's touch base.
yeah, well,
I guess my first question. Let's go with my first question. What 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 changed or what has happened since the first time we talked about the last fight? What's changed? Has there been anything in particular that you can point out that helped you with these fights that you just participated in? What's been your growth like since the last time we spoke?
with fighting,
Sure, life fighting.
oh, life is different, but fighting, fighting,
Yeah. Well, I agree and I disagree with it because life outside of fighting is a contributing factor to being inside the ring, right?
Mhm, mhm.
What goes on outside of the ring is equally as important. What goes inside, what happens, it basically determines what happens inside the ring, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, yes.
So I guess you could just start with like the process of you get that phone call, your fight's coming up, and like what's going through your head.
Well, let's just go with the last one. So the last one I just had,
Okay.
it was I was looking for. Well, here's like back. So the reason I was trying so hard to get fights is because I'm also moving out of California. So
Okay.
I was trying to get as many fights as possible, and I kept dudes kept dropping out, or they would say no, and so I got that one, and then um I was trying to look for another one. I kind of wanted to and didn't want to at the same time because I have so much stuff going on with trying to we're in the process of like the final days of like escrow. So this whole time I've been trying to get the house correct and everything. And then I was like, man, I need to try and fight at least one more time before. And so I messaged when they put a thing out saying, hey, we need people because people dropped out. I was like, so I messaged. I was like debating about it too. I was like, whatever, don't be a bitch. And then I sent it. They're like, I was like, you want 145ers or something? And they're like, oh, it doesn't matter the weight. I was like, all right. And then they gave me two opponents, and I was like, oh, I'd rather do the 150, but it doesn't matter. And then both those guys didn't accept my fight, and I was like, son of a bitch. And then I thought, and then a week went by, and I was like, all right, they're not, no one was responding, so I guess I'm not fighting. So I started eating bad again. And then then I asked them again just to make sure. I was like, "Hey, is there any fight?" And they're like, "Oh, let me check one more time." Okay. And then like a day later, I think they're like, "Yeah, we got you somebody." I was like, "Yes," but
Yes.
no. At the same
Shit.
time, it's like, "Shit!"
Right.
Can't. I was like, there is a 145. He was a 145er. I was like, "Hey, can you do 150?" I was like, "It's 3 weeks out, or like 3.5 weeks out," and I was like, "Hey." I can't. I've been eating horrible. I was like, I can't. I don't think I can make 145. And like, okay, they asked him. He's like, yeah. I was like, thank God. So I was able to get it, and then yeah. Then the cutting weight was really this for some reason it was like really difficult. I was the thing is connect life also with this one life and the fight was kind of connecting because this first time in a long time I went to I'm getting personal, but like whatever. We did this last time,
That's why we're
so I
here.
went to a psychiatrist. I went to a psychiatrist because I had some
Okay.
stuff going on in my life, mentally again. I mean, it's always there, but this was pretty bad. And so I got prescribed a couple mm, different things because I stopped taking medication a long time ago because I can't
Okay.
stand. But I realized that I need to take medicine. I need to do something to fix this. So then I started getting on this medication and this medication was messing me up. Like I was messed up at the gym. I couldn't lose any weight. So I stopped taking one of the medicines and I finally started losing a little bit of weight. And because I was panicking. I was staying at 160 and I was down to like eating just one meal a day. My calorie deficit was crazy and I was only lost like 5 pounds. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Dang.
And then I made it worse because I started stressing and was getting on the scale like every day. And I was
Oh
like, dude,
man.
stop looking at the scale every day
Right.
because I'm making it worse and worse. And then I was also like wearing sauna suits trying to cut, and I was having difficulty cutting water weight too. And I was like, what is going on? And so I got off that medication like 2 weeks out and that one medication that I had. And then I was able to start losing a little bit of weight. And then like the last week, because last week's the worst because you're water loading. You're taking like 2 gallons of water the first day, a gallon the next quarter. I'm not a quarter, like over a half and then half. But you're supposed to eat not that much, like no sodium, really like barely any
Right.
carbs. And and then you're killing yourself in the gym trying to lose weight. You're
Right.
putting like this
Yeah.
sweat stuff kind of
Yep.
thing, and then you're putting a sauna suit on. So you're trying to sweat all the water out. And I was in the gym for like 2 hours a day, and I was trying to run too, but I was like getting to the point where I was like, you get to a point where you're like mentally like, God damn, this is stupid. I don't want to do this shit anymore. But then I woke up the day of the weigh-ins at 152, and I was like, oh my God. No, I'm sorry. The day prior, Thursday, I woke up at 153 and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have one meal at 11 a.m. and then I'm not gonna eat or drink the rest of the day. So, and then until the weigh-ins the next day. So I did that. I didn't eat or drink until it was like 11 a.m. the next day for weigh-ins, and I was 149.8. So I was
Wow.
like, thank.
Snuck it
I was
in
like
there.
so relieved. I was stressing. I didn't even look at the weight. I didn't look at.
That's
I didn't look at. I didn't weigh myself in the morning because I was so stressed. So I waited till I got to the the place, and I was like,
So not
please let me
even
be
knowing,
one
you showed up
under
at the
150.
weigh-ins, not even knowing if you were actually going to be on weight.
that's
Because
crazy.
I was also scared that my scale was wrong.
That's a thing.
Because I sometimes yeah sometimes my scale be wrong. So I was like I didn't want to look at it. Oh, but I made it, and I was like, oh, thank God. So yeah, that's a lot of the mental battle is that, and then also you get so much anxiety. Well, so some days I don't know if this is for everybody, but some days I wake up be like feeling super confident, be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this dude, and some days I wake up like I suck.
Dude,
Bro, I hear
that's
it all the time,
that's all
man.
of
You know,
us.
obviously I'm a big combat sports enthusiast. You know, I'm a big UFC fan. And I like to, you know, I follow a lot of these guys on Instagram and stuff like that. And a lot of them put out, you know, vlogs or UFC has the embedded and stuff like that. They, almost all of them talk about this. You know, I even go back to Cowboy Donald Cerrone, who was notorious for even, you know, throwing up the day of and getting sick because he was so nervous. And I believe that was part of the reason why he got into living such kind of a crazy lifestyle away from fighting, was to keep those nerves, you know, firing and doing all these things that really challenged himself in that way to help deal with the anxiety of getting in there and fighting. But I heard a lot of those guys waking up the day of and being like, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to be in the ring. I don't want to be in the cage. You know, this is literally the last thing that I want to do with myself. Why am I doing this? You know, so you're absolutely not the only one, and even the people that are at the highest level of this sport go through those same feelings, those same thoughts, those same emotions, the roller coasters, the ups and downs. And again, you know, like what Kyle was alluding to earlier, we also don't know what's going on in their personal lives, you know, away from the training, away from the fighting. You know, people are having relationship issues, you know, people are having kids. You know, their wife will be in the hospital and they're literally getting ready to go fight. They can't even be there when their baby is born. They have people dying in their lives. You know, everybody goes through all these different things, and it's just that dedication, man. That making that choice to do this for you in the name of, you know, some people do it in the name for other people, do it for their family and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a choice that you're doing for yourself, to better yourself, to challenge yourself, to see what you're made of, to prove something to yourself, you know. And I mean, again, kudos to you, man. I got to say hats off to you for going through it, and especially, you know, while you have other things going on and being open about it, that, you know, moving is not easy. You know, Kyle and I talked about this before. Moving
Oh
is
my gosh, it's probably the worst
what they
things in
say.
life. They say that, like moving in
Taxes,
Texas.
moving, divorce, and death or something like that are like the top, you know, the top stresses in life. You know what I mean? So again, getting back to people having relationship
I,
issues, moving.
I was well, I was well I had stuff just mentally anyway, but I was moving plus my divorce got finalized. So
Exactly.
Wow, so a little
Exactly
double
what I'm
whammy
just
in there.
saying, man. The
A
most
little
stressful things that you can go through, and then you
man.
got to get in there
uh,
and have hand to hand combat with another human being who's coming in there to try to take you out too. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with,
mhm,
man. That's wild.
mhm.
Man, I want to piggyback what Sean said and commend you again for coming on here being vulnerable, because it takes a lot of courage to do that, man. There's so many people that are first not taking accountability for what's going on, in denial, right? Not addressing the issues that they have. So I commend you on for, you know, going to go get help in the first place, because it's all about mindset, right? That's why we're here. It's all about feeling better and seeking solutions to achieve that joy, that inner peace that we all struggle to find. And there's so many people, you know, even Sean and I know somebody who was on was on some some medication and struggled his process. I won't say his name, but the people are going through things. There's so many people going through things that aren't addressing the issue and are just keeping quiet about it. This is why we're having this podcast and why we're here in the first place, so we can talk about these things and get them off your chest, right?
Mm.
So for you to disclose that and talk about what you're going through, that's just going to help somebody who's going through those things. And I've experienced the confidence, the lows, the highs, feeling confident and then feeling doubtful. I mean, it's just a way of life. I mean, outside of the ring, outside of the court, it doesn't really matter what you're doing in this,
Mhm.
because life is a game, right? I mean, it's we're all trying to win our battles. And Sean and I talk on a daily basis, and we have our ups, we have our downs, we have days that we're feeling on top of the world, and others we're trying to, battle through, right? So again, bro, appreciate you being vulnerable, coming on here and talking about that, because that's just going to help somebody else feel compelled or feel motivated and encouraged to talk
Even
about what
you,
they're
bro,
going through.
even helping somebody else out, but also you need to know that the things that you're going through are intense, are crazy, and hard to deal with, and to know that you went and literally went into battle dealing with these things, and when it came to the battle, you came out on top. You have all these things that a lot of other people, they fold under. You know what I mean? There are plenty of people that have the stresses in their lives that they just can't take it anymore, and yeah, they fold, and they choose to end things, or they choose to hurt somebody else, or whatever the case is. So again, the fact that you're battling through on more than one battlefield, more than one battlefront, right? And handling business, man. Again, I got to give you a huge, I got to give you a metaphorical hug, man, because that's a lot to deal with, bro.
It
It's,
is.
the mental strength is crazy though, because like I feel like mentally stronger
Mm,
than I used to be. Because even like in
Amen to that.
my second fight, the one that the second Muay Thai fight that I had, like I I'm old, bro. We're all old now, so I I messed up. I like threw out my back like right before I messed up my back right before the fight, and I mistakenly dumbass this guy ran with a
mm,
weighted vest on the
mm.
concrete, and my hips were gone,
Yeah.
bro. And then
Oh shoot.
I went to the fight. I did not see this guy weigh in either, and I see the like basically I would have broke down because I was already hurting, and then when I showed up to the fight, I seen the dude, and fool was jacked, he's like tall, and I was like, holy shit!
Now I
I was
got to
like,
fight
God
this
damn,
dude.
this guy's huge. Yeah, I was like, God damn it! And then I was like in the back, I was trying to stretch my back out. I was in I was in a lot of pain, and all if like
Dang.
if people ever watch that fight, they'll see how like straightforward I was. I wasn't moving like sideways like I
Lateral movement,
usually do,
yeah.
and I was in a lot of I was in I was moving slow too, but like like mentally though I was like pushing through. I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. I was trying to make it like dirty and like
Yeah.
grimy and like
Dogfight.
he wasn't really giving yeah he wasn't really giving me too much. He was really like defensive and push kicks, and I was like I was just trying my best to
Probably
get in there.
because
I
he's like,
got
man,
him
this dude's
with
coming
some big.
right at me. Like, having to adjust on the fly to that, because again, these guys don't know what you're going
I was
through.
trying. Yeah, and I was playing like a lot of doing a lot of tricky stuff. But like the thing is that in the final round, like I was dead tired. I was dead tired, and I was not feeling it. But then the final final couple like 10, 15 seconds, I was like, F it, like let's go. And I was just like walking forward, trying to throw, trying to finish it up. Like back old me, if I was in that situation, I probably would have like just went, I don't want to do this shit. Or I would have just like stood there and
Kind
just
of
let
circle
something happen.
around. Yeah,
But
yeah.
now, like, yeah, yeah, man. Now I'm like, you know what? We came too far. Like, we gotta go get it.
Man, I love that.
That's like the
I,
difference now. That's what I feel now. Is just totally different. Like I work too hard, and like mentally, I'm like I'm not gonna break anymore. I'm just gonna
Mm.
go do it now.
man,
So
I love that, because that kind of answered my question to where I was like, well, what happened? Like, what type of growth was made in between the last time we talked and now? And that was it right there, brother.
yeah,
And it's so mind blowing to me how everything is predicated on mindset and what we're going through in our mind and how we can battle through those situations, the obstacles that are essentially inevitable, right?
Yeah.
But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, man. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to focus on as well. And for you to be able to be identify and be aware of that growth you made, that's a win, bro. So
Yeah.
congratulations, man,
Thank
because
you.
that's only going to help you, get to the next level in your growth journey, right? Was that the second of the two fights or the first of the two fights?
That was so yeah. It was the first of the two fights. It was my
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, it's helped me too because like even though I get tired now, I'm just like we'll just keep going, bro. Let's just
Yeah,
keep
you
going.
already know you can do it. You've reached a new level of experience, and so
It's just
you
like
know what
hey,
you're capable. Yeah,
yeah.
bro, that's crazy because I'm gonna send you the picture, Sean. I did a backflip today at on the at the because Amiya's in the gymnastics, right? So the floor, and I told Mia, my daughter Eric, I told her if she jumped on these bars, what she was scared to do, that I was going to do a backflip. So right, so she does it.
Shit.
She ends up accomplishing. She overcomes the fear. Right. I'll
Nice
send you the
job,
video, bro.
baby.
It took me like a minute. Right. So the point that I'm making is like it took me like a minute, right, to get that first attempt in, man. But after that first attempt, once you know that you're in motion, once you know that you can do it, it just gets easier and easier and easier. So really, it's just the hardest part is just breaking through that initial mode. And once you
Yeah.
know that you're close to accomplishing or that you can accomplish it, you'll be able to utilize that tool moving forward.
A lot of it is that
So
mental barrier,
I
though,
love
right?
that.
You know, a lot of it, yeah, the
Exactly,
body,
it is.
there are physical barriers, but a lot of, especially with fighting, is that mental barrier. Am I capable of doing this? And what they say, the worst feeling that you can get in a fight is being tired, but if you can get past that oh no feeling, like oh no I'm tired, oh no I'm winded, or whatever the case is, because again, being a big UFC fan, I've been watching it for a long time. One of the former heavyweight champions, Cain Velasquez, he was somebody that they would say he had like an endless gas tank, but the people in his fight camp would say like, nah, he gets tired, he just keeps going. Like it's not that he's not tired.
Yeah.
He just doesn't pay attention to that, man. His focus is to continue coming at you until you can't until you can't fight anymore. It wasn't that he never got tired. He got tired, but he was just so mentally strong to be able to push past that, to not allow that to be what stops him from doing what it is that he's there to do. And that's to put you out, remove you from your consciousness, right? So again, it's a mental barrier, and it applies to so many other aspects of life that, we set our own boundaries, we set our own barriers, and then that's where we stop. We don't push past that because, I knew that was coming, I knew this was going to happen, or whatever the case is. But poor me, right? Yeah, well,
Victim
here
mindset.
it is, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you can get past that, or make that decision, like, no, I'm not going to stop. Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm still here. That's big, bro. That's big, and that says a lot more than just with fighting.
Man.
Like I said, that's a big hurdle to overcome in life.
Absolutely, man. That's huge. For those that are listening, that are struggling to get past a fear or struggling to get past or to get to that next level, to be able to again identify or be in the moment, to be aware of the thoughts that you were having, and to trump, right? To trample that, be like, nah, no, I came too far. I worked too hard, to get here. Like, nah, let's push through. And for you able to push through, I mean, that's the mental warfare, bro. Like that's the battle that all of us have in our minds, man. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone talks to themselves. That's where the battle lies anyways, man, with our thoughts and the things that we say to ourselves. And it's like trying to convince ourselves that we're capable, trying to talk ourselves out of some things, right? We do that easily, right? We talk ourselves out of a lot of things. And I think that's a huge part of why our growth gets delayed, because hurdling those obstacles is is essential. It is the next part of leveling up, and it all starts with mental. I don't know how many times we're gonna, talk about that in this episode, but everything is mental. Like, and then the body follows. You could have easily gave up on that ring and then not charged him, right? And then the fight would have been over. I mean, you'll never win if you quit, right?
Mhm.
And you power through it. So I just want our listeners, to know that these obstacles and these battles that you've hurdled are something that we all have to be aware of, because we're gonna have to hurdle. Though I mean, it's every
That's
day, right?
why.
We're gonna have to hurt. Yeah,
That's why everybody
yeah,
should
bro.
play sports.
Legit though.
or do
No,
something
legit. I mean,
athletic,
you
right?
learn so
Push
much
your
about
body.
yourself and what you're capable of, and also what other people are
Exactly.
capable of. Capable of. I think being involved in sports growing up is one of the best things that a parent can do for their child. And again, I talked about this not
Mhm.
too long ago. Growing up, my mom had me in all different kinds of sports. Whatever I showed interest in, we at least tried it. And if I didn't like it, then we didn't do it the following season or the next year or whatever. Yeah. But you
Experience.
gain that
Mhm.
experience and you find out what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And then you're not living that life of what if, like we talked about before, Kyle. You know what I'm saying? Now you
Now
know
you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then
Now you
also
know.
you learn how to lose, you learn how to win, you learn how to deal with disappointment. You learn all those
Right.
things, and that's what helps
Yeah,
you later on.
we had our guest Vaca on a little while back ago, and he talked about that. Learn how to be a gracious winner and a humble loser, or is it a humble
Mhm.
winner and a gracious loser? But yeah, being able to handle setbacks too, right? Being able to accept the negatives
Yeah,
that come and how you respond to it. Because like you said, Kyle, life is going to come at you no matter what. Whether you go to it
It's
or not,
inevitable.
it's going to come to you, and it's all a matter of how you handle that. You can choose to, yeah, you're going to get hit. You can choose to stay down, or you can get back up and continue to fight. And again, see what you're made of, see what you're capable of. And like you just said, Kyle, now I know.
Absolutely. I have a part of my program for, I'm going to read this, for my basketball program or my fitness program. One of the steps in my coaching program is disruption always follows intention, right? I told you about this before, Sean. It's something that I'm really, because what we go through in life is inevitable. And it's exactly what you said, Sean. Being able to be prepared for what's coming and being able to handle the approach and respond accordingly. If we can master that, we can accelerate our lives in a way that is unimaginable. And this is what I said. Disruption always follows intention. When you're on a journey of greatness, the adversary, the enemy, or life is going to try to disrupt, sabotage, derail you, set you back, or kick you off course, essentially doing anything to keep you from accomplishing your goals and your dreams. It's a part of becoming a better version of you, though, right? It's a part of life, and there's nothing that you can do about it. The faster you learn how to deal with these obstacles, the faster you can develop and grow your mindset. So that's huge, bro. Being able to identify what you're going through, being able to be aware of the obstacles that come in, because like I said, it all starts with the mind, right? Those battles, those thoughts of doubt, those thoughts of negativity, those thoughts of low confidence. Well, if I can, or what if I can't? You're going through a house, doing their on escrow, getting your house situated. You going through a divorce. Those are all obstacles that you have to take on. And like Sean said, a lot of people will fold in those type of situations, but you are able to get through it and then won the fight. Like, I mean, bro, that's a huge win, bro. That's a huge win.
I bet dude would have liked
Tell
to
us
have
about
known
that.
that
Go ahead.
that little detail that you had going on in your life because he probably wouldn't have taken the fight. Like this guy's moving, he's going through a divorce, he's going to take that shit out on me.
Right, right.
the the last fight that I had, the guy was super cool. I liked the opponent, but like I hit him, I knocked him down in the first round, right? And then I was like, okay, let's try to end this shit now. So I was like, I was going, especially the last 10 seconds. I was like, and then I got finished. I was like, shit, I'm so tired now. And then the second round, I started the same thing. I was like, because I thought I was like, man, I'm trying
Right.
to end this. Let's go. And then he wouldn't fall again. I was like, you tough son of a bitch. And then and then I was dead. Though I was dead. I was just trying to play like I wasn't dead the whole time. I was so tired. And then, but then, yeah, it was a lot of clinch work after that. But yeah, it was the last fight was that was cool. I really wanted that trophy. That's the reason I took that fight because they had a cool trophy if you
You
won.
want
So that's
something
the
to
reason
show
I wanted.
for it, right?
I
You know?
love that. I love that. He's like, I want that trophy. Hey, you had some
That's the
initiative
only
though.
reason I wanted to fight for that promotion because I liked how the trophy looked. That's the only reason.
That's
That's dope.
hilarious. I
I like
love
that
that.
though.
Hey, that was incentive though. That
Huh?
was incentive. I mean, I said that
Right.
was incentive. That was something
Yeah.
that motivated you, to take the fight, and I think that's important, right? That gave you some encouragement and motivation, to get
Plus,
it done.
plus, plus, I did the three fights in within the year because I think we basically talked like last year around the same time. 'Cause that's why my
Mm.
last fight was. I think my last fight was pretty much today or somewhere around this time last year, and then I got three trophies and you got to give one to each one of the kids. So
There you
that was
go.
pretty cool.
That's dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Tell us about your mindset going into that second fight. How was that? I know the first one was like you were dealing with the pizza, you were dealing with cutting, you had the medicine that you got off, and you were able to make the
No,
fight.
that was the second fight. Sorry,
Oh,
that
that
was
was the second fight.
that
Okay,
was
all
the
right. So,
second. The first the second of the two that I
Right.
just had. That was the second one. First
okay,
one, first one, it was a better cut. But like I said, I hurt my back
your
and my
back. I
hips.
got it.
Yeah,
Always
Got it. Got
something.
it. Got it. Got it.
that one I
Okay.
hurt.
But
Yeah, and then I had the guy, the original guy was supposed to fight. He pulled out or whatever. I don't know what happened. And the other guy came in, and then it was like, so I had to change what I was. I don't know. It's weird sometimes when you get an opponent change. It's like mentally, it's like you try to be like, oh, I'm good, but like sometimes you're like, ah, shit, what's gonna
right.
change here? But
Well, I mean, a lot of
yeah,
times you
but
train, especially if you know ahead of time, you're training for that specific style opponent. You know, whether if they're taller, if they're shorter, you're going to try to find somebody in your gym that can replicate at least their size a little bit, you know, or the way their style or something like that. So yeah, you get a last minute opponent change. It's like you said, oh man, now what do I have to deal with? You know, who is this guy? What is he good at? You know, some people like to fight at distance. Some people like to get in close. That's a completely different
yeah.
style of fight. You know what I mean? So you gotta be able to switch it up, not just physically but mentally going into that, and it's a lot, man. Again, people don't know what goes into and behind the scenes when you have an athlete of any kind and what they're dealing with. You all we see is the person that shows up, and it's so easy
Exactly.
to judge that person. It's so easy to be on the outside looking in and saying, oh, you know, he's not that good, or you know, he's a bum, or you know, oh, he looked flat, or you know, it's so easy to be judgmental and not knowing what somebody has going on. So again, another more kudos to you, man, for having so much going on, and again, still being able to go out there and perform to that degree. This
Mm.
last fight was this was a first round finish, right?
No, I knocked him down the first
Oh,
round, and
that's what
he's
this one.
super
All right,
tough,
all
and
right.
he's my first fight I had back was a first round finish.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, I thought there was a
The
first round
original
finish,
one,
but.
yeah, yeah, I beat that dude up. That felt bad.
So what's the, I know you've talked about it or at least alluded to it a few times, um, this being your last fight. Was that something that you knew going into it, or was that a feeling coming out of it that you were like, man, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore?
I just don't like cutting weight, man. It just sucks, dude. And all this. I mean, it's also because I'm moving, and I'm like, I have to find a gym again. I have to go through all this shit. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm about to be 39 in January, so I'm like, it gets harder to cut weight as you get older. And I'm like, but there is that part of me that's like, the Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not going. Like because my whole original goal was to have a couple Muay
Mhm.
Thai fights, and then to get back in the MMA cage. Because the way it went for me in MMA, it's frustrating because my last fight, I don't know if I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
talked about this, but I don't remember if I did. I, I lost because I fought with contacts because I can't see. It's so hard. But like my contact folded in my eye because I got
Oh shoot.
poked in my eye and folded in my eye. And then when I went out for the third round, I was like I think I said it. I was like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport. I was like, right. And so I couldn't see. And then the ref saw that, and then he stopped it. So it goes down as a TKO, and it really pisses me off.
Left a bad
So,
taste in your mouth.
uh, so, so my whole goal
Yeah.
was to fight for an MMA
Gotcha.
fight. But I mean, I okay. If I go to Oregon and I find a gym, and maybe I might fight some big white dude out in Oregon. Who knows? So we'll see what happens
Okay.
because they're all huge
Right,
out
right,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Ridiculous.
All right, so not necessarily the nail isn't in the coffin yet. There's still a chance, and again, obviously that is based on a lot of things. Getting reestablished somewhere, seeing how your body is responding to certain things. And depending on the weight class and all that type of stuff. But again, man, you've already walked so much further down this path than a lot of other people. A lot of people, not just in fighting, but in other aspects of life, they think about what they want to do, or what they should do, or whatever the case is, and they will come up with whatever excuse or reason as to why they're not able to. And it's usually an external excuse, right? It's usually something that they're blaming on something else, or somebody else is the reason why they can't do it. But really what it comes down to is what you are feeling and what you're going through on the inside. And like we talked about, getting past those mental barriers that we place on ourselves. And again, man, you went out there and did it, not once, not twice, but 3 times within the last year. And coming from somebody who has been sitting back thinking about getting back into it, lacing up the gloves, and at least working out again. And I haven't done it yet. My daughter, I take my daughter to a karate studio not too far from here, and the guy that runs it, he's asked me a couple times now, like, when are you? Because he teaches kickboxing too, and he's like, so when are you coming out here? When are you coming out? I was like, man, he just did it last week. He walked by and he stopped and came back and kind of gave me a little side-eyed look. So when are you coming in? And I was like, man, I got to get into shape. He's like, well, that's what this is for. I was like,
Hey.
So
Right. I say do it. I say do it because
It's all.
this is. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just the build routines. It's just the
right.
initial wanting to start it is hard, but once you start it and you just build a routine with it, it becomes
Right,
way
becomes a part of
easier.
life.
But it's just
Yeah.
initial start,
Breaking through the
like
mold.
a little
Right. Yeah.
anxiety, a little worried. What are
Well,
they gonna
yeah,
think?
exactly.
It's a
That's
new
that's what's
gym.
going through my mind. It's been so long since I've thrown a
Yeah,
punch like that. It's been so long since
See,
but that's
but
that
those are
mental
just
barrier
like
that
you
I'm
said, just
placing.
those things that we talk our yeah, we talk yeah, those things that we
So
talk
all these
ourselves out
things.
of. Isn't it crazy? It's like, nah, this and that. Bro, listen, what I mean, I'm gonna ask you the question of what's next, Eric, but at the same time, I'm a big believer, man, and I'm still having to believe it for myself. And it's always easy to believe it for other people, but I'm believing it even more and more for myself, that anything is possible, bro. Anything is. I did a backflip today, bro. At 38, I'll be 39 in January myself, right?
high five,
But
brother.
that's just right. So when the dude asked me, because he was in there when I did the backflip, he's like, "Oh, how old are you?" I'm like, 38. He's like, "Oh, wow, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's
Yeah,
impressive,
yo,
right?
like easy, man.
right, right,
I
right."
hey,
But that's
I was hold on, bro. I was feeling really good at the last fight because everybody in the background, I was like talking. They were like, man, I was like, how old are you? I'm like 38. Like, you're 38. That's crazy.
right,
You're in your
Hey,
30s.
right.
I was like, oh my god, stop,
get me,
please.
yo, getting back
Yes.
into UFC. What's his name? Randy Couture won the heavyweight title at 42.
Yeah, there
I
you
mean,
go.
you see, I mean, it was for publicity and for media. But Mike Tyson got back in the ring at however old, man. Obviously, he's a different person, but like,
I'm still mad about that. I'm still
and
mad
it was for
about
media. But
that. Yeah,
I don't even know how
I mean,
I can't even.
I'm
What do you have to say about
I'm
that?
not hating on Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and all them, and everything that they're doing, man. They're out there. They're selling themselves. They're making a ton of money. You know, Jake Paul is fighting legit people. But I mean, you're talking a 60-something-year-old Mike Tyson and being proud that you won that
Right,
fight, man.
exactly.
Let's rewind the clock. That dude is literally eating your punches.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
If they were the same
Yeah,
age, like I don't know. So he lost. I think it was considered an exhibition fight. So you know they're not really trying to knock each other's heads off to that degree. But I'm I don't know, man. I'm still mad about that.
yeah. That all right. Yeah. So you're talking about the Jake Paul side of it, right? So I mean, at least Mike. I mean,
Mike got
Yeah.
the message.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got paid.
I mean, Mike Tyson got out there at 60, man. Just let me see if I can get it done, man. And so my next question is so you're heading out to Oregon, right? That's where you're heading out to, and I know there's a lot going into it. Still having to get out there. When you heading out?
I'm here cleaning up the rest of the house, and I will be leaving next Saturday.
That's crazy. So pretty soon, and so I'm sure you're going to be thinking about just that process and getting there, getting settled. But what does that look like for you when you do get settled? Have you thought that far?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I was. Part of me really wants to coach a little bit. That'd be cool if I got
Hey,
to coach. I'm gonna set up stuff in my sister's house. Hopefully, all my mats I had in my garage, and then all my bags and stuff. And then I was thinking about maybe I don't know. I would like to coach. That'd be cool. I like to teach people at my gym. I mean, show people some stuff that I do because my some of my
do
stuff.
it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But then there's also there's another jujitsu place which I'm probably gonna try see about that. Supposedly they have a Muay Thai place. As I mean, Muay Thai they teach Muay Thai there, but we'll see.
If
We'll see
they
if they
don't,
actually
then
do Muay Thai that well.
you can
Because
start your own
jujitsu,
Muay Thai place out there. Get that established.
Hey,
I mean, yes, I thought about that. That would be
don't
dope.
talk yourself out of it.
Don't set those mental barriers. Don't be like me.
Oh, right.
It's just because like uh, I don't know. You Kyle, you do a lot of basketball coaching, so right? Don't you like coach younger people?
That's a good
See, but that's
question,
see, but that's
Eric.
the thing, though. It is a great question because I am getting ready to launch my app here in the
Okay.
next week. So as I'm preaching to you, I'm preaching to myself, brother. You know what
I
I
just
mean? I went so many years dealing with imposter syndrome,
yes, that's yes.
feeling inadequate, feeling like nobody wants to listen to me. But you know, God has shown me a different way, man.
Ah,
I was listening to, I told Sean I was listening to Ed Milet, and he was saying that he gets his confidence from his intention, and that kind of just like solidified everything for me because I have great intentions. Like my basketball is, I'll coach basketball for free, you
yeah.
know, and I've continued to still deal with imposter syndrome, but now I've got this new confidence about myself that it's like, nah, what I've went through, what I've gone through, what you've went through, what you've gone through, the experiences, the hardships, the overcomings, the triumphs, the wins, the losses, that's all for somebody to build off. That's all for somebody else in their process, man. And I we have our own story to tell. We are our own brand, and people are going to gravitate to us just because of who we are and their relatability to us. And there's going to
Mhm.
be other people that don't. But it's about, like me and Sean talked about, it's about that one person that you can impact. It's about that second person that you might just be that connection to him that you can just, all right, well, this dude changed my life, right? And so I got two kids now that are that I'm about to sign up for this app, and you know I had to reassure them. I was like, "Are you guys serious about this? Because this journey is going to be a journey. This is not about just skills. You know, this is not it's not just about learning how to throw a punch. This is not just about learning how to dribble a basketball, learning how to shoot. This is about
Right.
real life. This is about learning how to deal with the ins and outs and the emotions of basketball, of fighting, of whatever it is that we're going through in life, because that's where it's at. And again, I commend you for coming on here and talking about this, because like Sean said, a lot of people don't understand what they think when people look through the screen. They think that we're looking at superheroes, which we are. I believe that we're all superheroes, but at the same time, what comes with being a superhero is the responsibility and like the behind the scenes that go on,
Yeah.
right? And so that's ultimately what makes us those superheroes, is being able to address the things that we're going through and overcome
Right.
them, bro. So you have a lot to give somebody, man, and like I do, and even Sean, like you do. I'm like, well, bro, why don't you get into this MMA this stuff? We've talked about it before. Like, there's something that I can learn from both of you, as I'm trying to prepare myself ultimately for life as well. I'm trying to make. We talked about it before, Sean. I want to learn how to hunt. I want to learn how to shoot all kinds of guns. I want to learn how to kick somebody in the knee. I want to make sure if I'm on the ground with somebody, that I can do some jiu-jitsu. I can put somebody in a leg lock. And so those are all things that I'm trying to do, and I can learn those things from you guys, and that's something that I would take from you guys. So, man, I encourage you, brother. I encourage you to go to Oregon and to start something, and you know well, we can jump on another podcast and talk about that process, and we can bounce
Let's make
ideas
a
off each
pact
other. I can let you
right
know where
here,
I'm at.
right now, the three of
Every,
us, that we're all going to
Let's
take
do it.
ourselves to that next level, whatever that looks like for us.
Yeah,
But
bro.
we're all going to take that step and not be
Yeah,
okay.
scared and set those mental
and
boundaries.
we're
I'm raising the bar for myself, and I'm already
exactly.
starting to
We're
get
going to
nervous
encourage
just
each
saying that
other.
to you guys. But but let's do it. Let's do
Right.
it.
Let's do it.
No, it's fine.
Well, after the show, we'll piggyback on that though. But we'll keep each other accountable. We'll encourage each other, to move up, because again, that's what this podcast is about, man. It's about finding the joy within. All of us are looking for success, wealth, and it starts with our mindset. It starts with being happy internally. It starts with that joy. We already know that millions and millions of dollars means nothing if we're not happy, and if we don't have anybody that we'd like to share it with. Let's make a pact. This is a brotherhood. And this is going to be the beginning of something empowering, not just for us, but for everyone else that are dealing with some things. And I had a question. We're getting close to the end here. What piece of advice do you have from your most recent experience can you give someone that is scared, that is scared to get into the ring, or that is dealing with some anxiety before getting into the ring, or someone who's had a fight that was in the ring? I can't even imagine, just thinking about it, right? Being in the ring with somebody and being like, man, I'm not feeling this right now. It's like,
I've had that happen.
right. And
Yeah.
so you got through it though. So
Yeah.
what advice can you give somebody who's an up and coming fighter that would help them in their journey or their career in MMA?
Uh, I'll just say, this is tough. Like stuff that I did,
I
like
was going to say, what helped you take that
I think the
step? What
more
helped you push past that mental barrier?
just well, I went through a lot of not a lot. I went through a lot of mental stuff
Mm,
in my life. But like as regard to like fighting wise, like just the more experience you get, like amateurs, just like you're sparring or you're doing jujitsu, you're rolling, like put yourself in situations that you're
mm,
uncomfortable so that you can have
Ooh,
experience being uncomfortable. Because when it comes to that time where you're actually fighting, when you're in a comfortable situation, you can be
right.
comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
experience. Absolutely. That's heavy. I love that.
so like,
I love that.
so if like
Man.
you're against the cage, right, and like you're getting beat up, you like and you're doing it in sparring or
Mm,
something. Take your time, figure out what I need to do to get out. There's always a just like in life, there's a way to get to figure it out. Like even if you're going through hard times in life, there's a way to
mm.
figure it out. You don't have to like take the easy way out and just tap out or give up in life. You know what I'm saying? So there's always something you can do. There's
There's
just or
always a
like
solution.
just show grit. Like not to be an asshole, but like be a, like women too can do this, but like be a man, like step up, like and just keep on fighting, and then you'll see that mentally as you keep fighting, you get stronger and
Right.
stronger mentally, and then you can overcome anything that you, and as cliche as it sounds, you overcome anything you put your
Right.
mind
Yeah.
to.
Don't
So
succumb to
Man, I've got the goosebumps
right.
going, man.
Don't succumb to the
That's what I'm.
pressure.
Hey,
Like
look,
put yourself in there
yeah,
and know
yo,
that you are capable of getting out of it. Like you said, one way or another. And if you're finding that you're struggling figuring that out, surround yourself with those people that can help you figure that out, right? Because a lot of
yes,
it,
don't always do stuff by
right,
yourself. Don't always don't yeah, don't sit in a room by yourself trying to
right.
figure shit out. You know what I'm saying?
It takes a village, as they say,
It
right?
gets
With
tough that way.
many different aspects in life, and especially when it comes to fighting, a lot of people talk about that. Their team, their coaches, their dietitians. The people.
Yes.
Sometimes sometimes it's the people that they're in a relationship with, but a lot of times it's that team. It's that team that really helps them get to that point. And you see them talk about it like they say, we did this, we did that, blah blah blah. It's not like a yes, I did it. Now my team helped me get here. And I think that's something that a lot of people, again, not just in fighting or other sports and stuff, but in other aspects of life, sometimes you need to reach out and get some
Mhm.
help. Sometimes you need to, like you said, you went and you got some medicine, you were talking to somebody, you were having that conversation, you opened yourself up and you were vulnerable, and look what happened. You got better. You feel better, you're performing better now, and you got past that mental hurdle of feeling alone, and then allowing that to be the case of just being alone. And like we say, Kyle, oh, poor me. Like, no, it's okay to get help. It's okay to reach out and say that I can't do this on my own. And sometimes that's what it takes to just get past that hurdle in and of itself. And then you see all these doors that open up for you, all these different aspects of life that you can get better at or see clearly, or somebody can help walk you through. Because yeah, you're not always going to have the answers for yourself, especially if you're sitting back in that dark room by yourself having that internal dialogue. That's not always going to be your best friend. More cases than not, it's not going to be your best friend. So it takes that exterior voice of somebody else helping you, kind of shining that light on the path that needs to be walked, and not just yeah, like I said, being in that room by yourself and just mulling things over with that same internal voice that repeats the same negative thoughts, the same negative voice that we have. So yeah, get help, because sometimes that's what it takes.
yeah, man. And it's whatever higher power or higher source you believe in. You already know I'm a Jesus fan. I'm Team Jesus. Very into God. Very spiritual. Give glory to God for everything, for where I'm at in life and where I'm going to be. But as far as spiritual speaking, those voices in our head are that for me that's the enemy,
Right.
right? Those voices in our head are the spirit of the enemy trying to strip us down, trying to prevent us from being where we're trying to go. And like we talked about, Sean, new levels, new doubles. Every time we level up, there's going to be someone around that corner, enemy right around that corner, ready to throw us off track. And again, continuing to be aware of those moments and strengthening our skill in that awareness is just going to allow us to continue to grow. And again, I have to commend you again, brother, for that statement that you made on those that are coming up, because that's an empowering statement, man. That's for all of us in this world that are trying to accomplish whatever it is, whatever niche we're in, because those things are going to happen. You are going to find yourself in situations to where you feel like breaking down and giving up. Doubt is creeping in, and it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? It's like, I don't know. You're going to get lost in the woods, and it's just like you either give up or you find a way to push through it. There's always a solution, right, man? So that's power, bro. That's definitely power.
I love it. I love it, Eric. We Kyle and I said it before. We knew this was going to be another banger. We knew that you were going to come and bring the heat with you, man. So we appreciate you coming on and being vulnerable again. That in and of itself, and opening up about the things that you've talked about, it's not easy. it's a lot harder than people think. And when they get, if they even allow themselves to be put in that position, they're not able to keep it real a lot of the times. So again, bro, we really do appreciate you coming on here and opening up with us. If we could get more people to do it, the world would be a better place, right? So appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you taking your time away from your clearly busy schedule, man. You got a lot going on right now with the big move. I wish you luck with that move, man, and I can't wait to hear about everything that you're accomplishing out there in Oregon.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, dude. And
Mac.
me and Kyle are both going to be coaching, and then you're going to have a fight
Ooh,
soon. So
I
sounds
don't know
good.
about a fight, but I'm gonna
He
get in the
said,
gym. I'm gonna get in the gym. We'll see. I'm almost 40,
yeah,
so
he said a fight.
yeah, we'll see though. I know.
AJ,
You're
nothing
right.
but a
You're right.
number,
No, but
man.
we'll get
We
there.
out
We're
here.
going to take it to that next level, man. And I'm excited for our next episode to where we all get to talk about that and open up about how far we've gone with ourselves. So, again, we appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate everybody that's tuning in, and we'll see you next time.